our platform, and you can watch it later. So we're going to start our 8th International Symposium on Immunobiologicals of Bio-Manguinhos and Fiocruz. So invite to the stage Fiocruz President Mário Moreira. The president of Getúlio Vargas Foundation, Carlos Ivan Simonsen Leal. Director of Bio-Manguinhos, Maurício Zuma. The General Coordinator for Promotion and Regulation of the Industrial Complex of the Ministry of Health, Marcelo de Matos Ramos, representing the Secretary of Science and Technology and Innovation and Strategic Inputs for the Ministry of Healthcare, Carlos Gadelha, who is currently in the Crisis Committee due to the catastrophe in Rio Grande do Sul state. And the coordinator of the Scientific Committee, Akira Homma. I would like to thank you, our sponsor and supporters of the event, Sanofi, Promega, GSK, Biotech, Citiva, SECTICS, Cefid, Beckman Coulter, Bio-Manguinhos, AstraZeneca, Getúlio Vargas Foundation, and Croda. We would like to invite you all to watch the institutional video of Bio-Manguinhos.
Nós, de Bio-Manguinhos, somos a unidade da Fundação Oswaldo Cruz, responsável por inovação, desenvolvimento tecnológico e pela produção de...
Responsible for innovation, the production of vaccines and kits for diagnostics, driven towards meet the demands of national healthcare. With the objective to organize in industrial scale the production of vaccines in the Fiocruz, we have an important role in the discussions of global healthcare and the preparation for emergency health crisis, collaborating with the society and the medical community and overcoming challenges. And we work in a partnership with the greater national, international entities, and we are the greater industrial park of biological products in Latin America. In 5 years, we supplied for PNI and OMS 780 million doses of vaccines, 58 kits for diagnosis, 23 millions of biopharmaceuticals, and acting in an efficient way in the COVID-19 pandemic. And we had 50 million kits of diagnostics and the public health care initiatives, and more than 233 million doses were supplied by PNI, and we produce it 100% in national territory, and we were chosen by WHO by innovative production of mRNA vaccines in the Caribbean and Latin America and the Caribbean. And we are an institution with a century tradition driven towards the future. We are building the industrial complex of biotechnology and health that will be the greater center for the manufacturing of biological products in Latin America. And we are 2,400 collaborators, and We are under continuous development, and we have 152 masters in an internal graduation program. We have a corporate education program and of knowledge management. Bio-Manguinhos is driven towards public health care that produces immunobiologicals, enhancing access to health in great centers and in remote places of Brazil and the world. We are Bio-Manguinhos, we are Fiocruz, and we are the unified healthcare system. We are public health. We have a little bit of bio and each Brazilian.
I would like also to invite the director of Opus Brazil, Socorro Gross.
Bem, eu passo então a palavra.
I'll give the floor now to Akira Homma. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Mário Moreira, I'd like to congratulate the members of our board, of our team, but I would like to, at this time, I'd like to pay tribute to the people of Rio Grande do Sul, the climate disaster that has victimized 85 people, hundreds of injured, and the population that were thrust into a very difficult situation. I would like to propose 1 minute of silence to pay tribute to the dead to the victims of Rio Grande do Sul.
Obrigado, gente.
Thank you, folks. My first words will be a note of thank you. I'd like to thank the director of Bio-Manguinhos for your constant direct support, Oswald Cruz Foundation, and the Getúlio Vargas Foundation, which has granted us this venue for our event, and all the sponsors, our sponsors, and have been mentioned here before, which have allowed us to have the financing for the various activities that we're undertaking. And I'd like to thank all the participants. We have over 3,200 subscribed people who have subscribed and enrolled online, and presently here in Rio. We've had the large participation also in the presentation of the works. We have 130 works that we have selected, and they're out there at the poster session. And the question has been improved remarkably. I'd like to ask you for the support given.
ASCOM e e todos os outros que estão que participaram
For
diretamente.
all the participation, the scientific commissions, we have discussed throughout the year the agenda and the topics that have been mentioned here, and also the Commission of Selection of Works, the selection of works to be awarded, and they are working for some time to select the best studies that they'll be awarded a prize. Oswald Cruz, Carlos Chagas. Anyway, we have 6 different awards to be given out. In this sense, also, I would like to tell you that we are open to receive from all of you suggestions to improve the work we do, suggestions of topics for next year, and any other idea that you may have to improve and perfect this international symposium that has become even more international as time went by. In the sense, I'd like to tell you of the trust I have in the future, and that we're going to have increasingly better symposia that will bring information and provide a forum for discussion and to conjure up a forum for the exchange of ideas and discussions and debates, and to allow people to get together again and to reconnect. We've had meetings and reconnections of people that had not seen each other in years, and that has been wonderful. And also the possibility to make new friends and establish new partnerships. That's what I had to tell you at this opening session. Again, thank you to everybody present here today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Akira, for your words, and I'll give the floor now to Marcelo de Matos Ramos. You want to speak from the podium? It's your choice. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you on behalf of Minister Nízia Trindade and Secretary Carlos Gadelha the opportunity to be here and to be here at this event in its 8th edition, and to thank also Fiocruz and Bio-Manguinhos. They're great partners of ours. Well, the immunological medications are part and parcel of the arsenal of medicine against debilitating, sometimes fatal diseases. So we believe that it is a duty of the national public health system, especially the universal ones like ours, SUS, to be able to offer and provide access to people to these medications that combat these illnesses. However, these medications many times are at the frontier of innovation, and that's the reason why they have patents, and they have very high prices. That puts a stress on the public health systems of many countries, especially countries like Brazil. They take a lion's share of the purchases by our national public health system. Many of them are imported, which provides a further stress on our system because of foreign exchange rate problems. And there's the interface with the economic industrial complex and the health arena, whose goal is to since it is the complex which provides the material foundation, the basis for the public health system, public and private alike, it is the duty of the complex to be able to promote, foster development and production, local production of these medications insofar as possible. That's why I'm going to be telling you about the six. I think a lot of you know. If you don't know, well, you'll have the chance to get to know them. As I said before, the SEIs is the very foundation of our public health, national health system, public and private alike, whose goal is to provide access to quality products, health products and services. Therefore, also the experience, the bitter experience of COVID taught us a few lessons, like the need to be able to produce locally many of those health products, and because we have seen shocks on supply chains worldwide, and also the countries that manufactured certain things stopped exporting them, and those that didn't produce them were left empty-handed in a very thorny situation. In that sense, starting in 2013, even though it says the complex industrial health complex is a concept developed starting in the year 2000. In the beginning of the government, there was a reenactment of the institutionality of SEIs. We have the national strategy for the development of SEIs, the matrix of technological products and health with priority areas for investments and foment, and the creation, the recreation actually, of the executive group of SEIs with the participation of 11 ministries and 9 public departments to formulate measures and initiatives and actions to implement the strategies that I just told you about. This is the scheme, conceptual scheme of the SEIs, involving many segments, subsystems, chemical-based systems, mechanical base, information and connectivity foundation, also the whole base of information services in all of these areas, and the service subsystem. All of these come together. The presence of the state has been felt. The SUS is the biggest universal health, public health system in the world. You can use the power, the purchasing power, the procurement power of the SUS to leverage investments in the production of several health products. And also there is a high potential to stimulate the economy. It's a key area for the fourth industrial revolution. A ripple effect of that reality is in the new government. It was the National Council for the Industrial Development has been recreated following the policy for a new reindustrialization of the country. And we have defined 6 missions have been defined, and health for the first time ever is one of the missions listed, the resilient health platforms to mitigate ensure resiliency and mitigate negative effects of health problems on the population. There's a national goal of providing 70% of the health products consumed in Brazil, produced and consumed in Brazil by 2033, if I'm not mistaken. These are the most important programs that make up this new policy. We have here the program to prepare vaccines and hemoderivatives and the blood byproducts, the program for the production of new health technologies for the population and neglected diseases, modernization and innovation in healthcare geared mostly to medical equipment and devices, and some other programs that are in reality tools, the PDP, which is a partnership program, and the PDC for the modernization of the infrastructure of the industrial complex, and the PDU geared to the development and local innovation and development. Each and every one of these programs will use the other ones as tools when it comes to developing local production and the technological development of our products. the program, the BPDN, both actually have these guidelines, innovation to local production, strengthening national public networks, the reduction of dependency, the dependence on foreign imports, and boosting global health initiatives. Each one of them programs and vaccines and geared to the population, neglected. And I can't see it well. Just a second. And all of them have specific decrees that have been published, and they and the programs that I said are tools. The PDCs have a published decrees, and the program of the PDP and PDU have been submitted to public inquiries and consultations by the ministry at the time they find themselves at a juncture in which they're being incorporated. The analyses of the many contributions made and the public consultation rounds for their next publication, the upcoming publication. The decrees that have been published on vaccines and hemoderivatives, blood derivatives. The goal is to disseminate access to vaccines, productive capacity, stimulate production processes, restructure production networks, and research and development, and national platforms for research and development, and to contribute to ecological transition. And the other decrees have specific objectives. Neglected diseases. We understand that the question of these diseases, neglected diseases, it's a need to cater to. It's a failure. It's a market failure because international companies have no interest in catering to these populations and these specific illnesses because they're not diseases that affect developed countries. So there is a need to develop these technologies and these products in our own countries. To ensure the prevention and diagnosis and treatment, to support innovation, research and development, strengthen contribute to ecological environmental transition. These programs, how do they interact with each other? How do they establish a dialogue with the programs that I told you about that are tools? In the case of the PDP is a program geared to technology transfer to laboratories, to public laboratories through partnerships with entities abroad that will allow for technology transfers to partner companies as well. So these are technologies that exist in which this technology transfer will be carried out towards local production using as incentive the procurement power of the SUS, public health system in Brazil. The other mechanism, which is PDU, they use, and in this case, they would be geared to the development of solutions, innovative solutions. And the idea here is to use mechanisms for to purchase innovative products like technological products and offsets, among others. Basically, that's what I had to tell you. And I will be more than happy to answer questions and comments and for any queries you might have. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marcelo. I'll give the floor now to Maurício Zuma. Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I will talk from the podium. I will I'll start something new. I would like to tell you that we have started there was a promising beginning. Our event had a promising start. Dr. Akira talked about some figures, but I had other figures here. I got other information that you might not be aware of. Today, in the morning, we had 800 people here, present at this venue. It was standing room event. There were people in the other room, people standing, an expressive, very expressive, significant number. Also, we have people watching us from 9 different countries.
So these are data of the people who are monitoring on through the internet. So we are launching our 8th International Symposium of Immunobiologicals. It's actually started yesterday. We had events yesterday, satellite events actually, many courses being carried out in Bio-Manguinhos, also in a workshop about the G20, which was very interesting to seek positions. Fiocruz positions was restricted to Fiocruz, but positions and sets of Fiocruz that can be taken to work groups for health. And this is a Brazilian group for the G20, which will be held in Brazil this year, and it is being brought. The presidents of the event is Brazilian this year. So we had these several events yesterday, and this morning we had several panels. And I would like to say that my feeling is that we're going to have an event with many success, but this is an accumulation of experience. We have been working with this for a long time now, and our expectation is to generate integration among students, professionals, our colleagues, researchers, companies, partners, companies, institutions, suppliers. So this been happening very successfully, and I think that that is our objective, to make this integration and this discussion and to foster this discussion so that we can have outcomes in the medium and long term. So the production of new products, new services, new processes, all to the Brazilian healthcare public healthcare, and also the international healthcare. So I would like to uh, say hello to you all and our participants on this table, and to invite you to continue on this participation. This is very important of you all being able to participate, and that we are going to have for sure very promising results for our country and for our public health in Brazil and internationally. I would like to thank, I cannot refrain from thanking the scientific community and ASCOM, who is working in the organization of this event. And this is a lot of effort to organize this kind of event. And for you to have an idea, we will have for next week a meeting for the assessment of this event, which will be a preparation for the next event. So we close one and we start working the next event. And this is one of the secrets that we have, this tenacity in the work. And Dr. Akira has no other way out. So we work from the end of this one. So this is one of the secrets that make us ensure the success that we want to have in the result of these events. So in addition to the commission, I have to take my glasses. So I'd like to thank José Carlos Duque, our partner from the Getúlio Vargas Foundation, which since the beginning we offers the space so that we could organize here, and all, of course, Professor Simonsen from the Getúlio Vargas Foundation as well, that promptly approved our request. So thank you very much. We had very important feedbacks regarding the structure here, and this regarding our previous edition, it was a great progress bringing the event here to this venue. So maybe we could request for next year the same venue. So I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity of being here. I would also like to thank Mario, our president, for the customary support. And I would like also to thank our sponsors, because without them, it would be very difficult to carry out this kind of event of this dimension and offering all of everything that we need for example, for the speakers, the foreign speakers, the structure that we need to the hotel, transportation. And without our sponsors, this would not be possible to organize this event in the way we are doing. So I'd like to thank the companies, and I already thanked them, but once more, Sanofi, Promega, GSK, Fiotech, Acaitiva, Aciex, Acefade, Batman Culture, Bionovis, FGV, and Croda. So AstraZeneca, I'm sorry, I think I forgot. It's not on my list. So it's not on my list indeed. So it's going to be part of our evaluation next week. So AstraZeneca, who is our partner with the COVID vaccine and future partnerships as well. I would like to thank the support that we receive from these companies, and without them, without the support, it would not be possible to carry out this event. I would like to wish to you all an excellent event. I would like to thank, I forgot to thank all the speakers and all that were came from their countries, from their other states, and to leave their professional activities to come to our city and to participate with in the event. So I'd like to thank you all. Also, the students who are here presenting their work posters that were made to present here, the evaluation committee who are going to decide the best works, and to thank all that have any kind of participation and that have any link to the organization of our events. So once more, I would like to wish a great event on these 2 days. We still have the launching of a very important book, which is a biotechnology that was a partnership with the Rheumatology Association, or in a partnership with this society. So it generated a wonderful book with 200 people participating in it, and going to be launched on our booth downstairs. You should not miss it. It's going to be a great book, and you all should know. So thank you very much, and you have a great event for you, to you all. Thank you, Maurício Zuma, and I pass the floor to Simonsen Leal, Mr. Simonsen Leal. I'm not sure if I was supposed to say, but Fiocruz area is almost orthogonal to my knowledge, but I'm going to take the risk. And first of all, we like to follow Professor Akira and the Velevich Fandau, which was a Russian scientist. I'm going to say hello to you all and have that nomination of 60 people in the events, and you end up talking only 2 minutes. So I want to say hello to you all, and I would like to say the following. The foundation does not have nothing direct to teach directly to Fiocruz. It is a research and teaching institution, and it was born in the past with the famous CEO law behind it. And looking at you, that would say that your birth certificate would say that this event, you would be here in this Getúlio Vargas Foundations. And one day, these seals were extinguished, and the problems that the foundation faced started. And in 1980, that this institution that was a great knowledge center, it was actually empty without the capacity of doing things because there was no funding. And financial resources is something that people do not want to talk about. It doesn't bring happiness, but the lack of it brings much unhappiness. So we started emptying, losing prestige, and in 1987 we saw that we were orphans, and we started seeking our support, your vital support. And immediately we faced a dilemma that was how to do it and still keep the mission that we had previously. So we had the same mission to simulate the economic development in Brazil. It can be a platitude. There are other entities that have the same missions, but we have a history that tells the story. And at the same time, we do have the necessity of funding initiatives. 30 years later, this was and its majority was solved, and we had several changes and consequences in this process. You can do things like bring sustainability and also meet the requirements of being a public good. You don't need to do everything out of cost-free, but for others, you have to charge for that service because you're going to leverage on it. So this was very well solved, and before the pandemic, we reached a conclusion, and I was very pleased to see the exhibition here because it's completely ready for this. And I do not understand anything of the subject that of your field of knowledge, but I have this feeling. And then we started to look at it, and we saw that there is something wrong on what we are doing. And we are being a candidate to be the first party. So we dance very well. This is the image that we use, but we have to go into the ball. So the gafieira dance means that this year they just launched the top 10 graduation schools in Brazil. We have 6, the first, the second, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, something like that. I'm glad that Fiocruz was not there, otherwise you will be first place and I'll be second. But the fact is that when you have 6 and 10 in the country in the size of Brazil, it's not only the merits, our merit, but also it's demerit of the rest, because you lack funding, you lack organization, you have these issues. But what matters is that having the 6 or 7 or 5, it doesn't mean much because you're still in the party. You only get to the ball if your research is for real. And for that to happen, it has to have 2 characteristics. First of all, innovation, which is very difficult. People may think, oh, I'm going to have an idea today for innovation. No, the good innovation is the one that you find in the research work and you get to it and you stumble upon it. The second thing is that you have to treat the issues here. We do not have, for example, to understand of all problems and apply all of the solutions that are being applied in the United Kingdom. For example, Brazil loves to copy foreign solutions. And here in Brazil, you copy the privatization model and the English territory, and you applied it in Brazil. And of course, this had consequences that were not forecasted. So we cannot trust and we cannot depend on it. We were mentioning the matter of the vaccine against COVID, and I participated in a seminar where the president of Broken Institute, which is considered the first think tank of the world, the General 4 stars general. He had a chest that was much bigger than mine, so he can carry all the medals. He said the United States is going to have the vaccine, going to solve the vaccine problem, and going to supply the vaccine to the world. It's good that the government did not listen to him, otherwise we wouldn't haven't taken any actions. What happened that the United States was not the first having the vaccine, and when they did, one of them was BioNTech, that that I understand was a Pfizer BioNTech partnership from Germany. The other one was the Moderna, which was a North American researcher, and I don't know if they. I'm quite sure they did not supply vaccines to Brazil at the time, but we did had stumble upon the problem of not having the basic structures to manufacture the vaccines. There are no miracles. We have to have the maintenance in our facilities to have the manufacturing. And in Brazil, we need to have a research. It's not being a xenophobe, but we have to have the capacity of thinking. And Fiocruz is a special entity in this sense, because all the hardships and the Brazilian budget, and this is a great evil of Brazil, is the lack of capacity of planning in general due to the budget process. And with the hardships of the Brazilian budget, Bio-Manguinhos was able to carry out and with these along these years, and we are ready, and Bio-Manguinhos is ready, and we need to get the funding and tighten our rhythm, speed up. Otherwise, it won't be possible. Here at the FGV Foundation, it's interesting because we were completely supported by the government to immense funding of 500,000 reais, and our budget developments 20-fold during the period that this happened. Of course, Fiocruz, it's a public good, an asset, much more than we are. But everything is possible when we have the goodwill and the the critical mass to do it. So we cannot be limited only to the hardships of a country that wants to invest in its own science. 2 billion reais while in healthcare, while Microsoft's investment was of $20 billion. So it's 125 billion reais, and one company invested 60 times more than what we are investing. So for you to compete, then you have to compete saying that if you're going to face these obstacles, I will not be able to accomplish. I will be defeated. I have to think how I'm going to fight against it and choose my battles, choose the necessary battles, the research that are needed, and this will be the drive of everything, and that's where we have the added value. And just to complete, We are seeing another subject regarding public health, and the public health issues are not only of healthcare, but also of public administration. And we have another issue of public health, which I would say is a scandal. And those of that we got used to it, is that the number of MRIs that are carried out in Brazil at least it's 1/8 of what would be needed. And with that, we expend $500 million importing isotopes. So we could do it here, a multi-purpose reactor, and make the isotopes to attend the population and make the same reactor within a year, less than a year. So if Bio-Manguinhos launches and other initiatives launches in this sense, we can do a lot. We're not going to be able to do everything, but we can accomplish greatly. So this is the reason of FGV accepting the having you here and holding the event, because we do not need to understand of biology. We have you for that, but we have to have the motivation of going after the resources to do the bare minimum, and then we can showcase what we have done. In our case, to leverage all the resources, because it's necessary to leverage them. It's not a matter of not wanting to leverage or ideological problem. The thing is that we do not have the funding, the government does not have the resources. The resources are very much limited. We have to invest and we have to evolve to reduce the level of diseases and welfare, especially in the more poor part of the population. So I'd like to thank the attendants here and you all for your presence, and my colleagues here and the presence. And I do not understand, this is not my subject, not my field. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to read all the papers. Sometimes we are surprised here, and we have mathematicians here that they look very differently at things. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlos Ivan Simonsen Leal. I'm going to give the floor now to Socorro Gross. Good afternoon to everyone who's participating in this important meeting, and the people that have this technology that we're using and following up on, and if they're following this symposium. I would like to do the same. The president of the Getúlio Vargas Foundation, I'd like to salute the table, acknowledge the president's presence of all of you on behalf of the president of Fiocruz, my friend Mario Moreira. But we also have someone who for me is very important, who has a track record for us in the Americas, and that's Dr. Akira. I must really acknowledge his presence and thank him for his great work. We've been walking together for so long. It's been so long that we've been doing great projects together with other great luminaries of public health, like Dr. our friend Ciro Quadros. And I must also tell you talk about this other institution, which is centuries old, like the Pan American Health Organization. And we have the director, Esther Cages, Instituto Butantan Institute, two institutions that together have made history in our Latin American region and the Caribbean too, a region that has the opportunity now to change what we have been, and a region that has a great deal of potential, but it's a region that has not done everything it could have done. And I'd like to congratulate you on behalf of the Ministry of Health, Brazil for the presidency of the G20 to bring forth an innovative alliance, a global alliance towards the production and innovation, regional innovation and local innovation for health products. We do hope that we'll be able to celebrate that may this be a decision, important decision, because this would be a milestone, not just in the history of the G20, which is an economic forum, but also in our region, in the Americas. Today, here we have virtually all of those who make innovation and the production of health products, public and private alike. For us as a Pan-American health organization, we've been working strenuously in the course of the past 121 years in pharmaceutical policies, access policies, and improvements, and to strengthen regulatory frameworks in our region. And we're the only organization that has two funds that they make purchases, and they use this power of the procurement power of the countries to do joint purchases, which is the rotating funds for immunobiological products, and was created by a gaucho, Dr. Ciro de Quadros, 45 years ago, and a fund, also strategic fund for health products that brings diagnostics, insecticides, pesticides, and so many products. It's been in operation for 23 years. But we don't have one item, one piece of the machinery. That's because of a resolution of our board a year ago. It was established that the resolution that the PAHO had to work in cooperation to expand innovation and production in our region, especially Latin America and the Caribbean. And to that end, our director, Dr. Jarbas Barbosa da Silva, is very well known in Brazil. He's Brazilian, and he's someone who worked very hard on innovation. He was the secretary, president of Anvisa, and it created a department at OPAS, at PAHO, of innovation for access to technology and health products. Today, I'd like to thank you and to have the possibility of talking to you today, and also to present the female force in science and technology, the force of women in this field. I think we also have in the region a wide array of women in science and technology that are making history at the same time that our male friends and colleagues are making history too. So today I would like to put two reflections to your attention. Number one, the great possibility that we have in our region. Brazil is a country, it's a continental country. It has the greater social protection policies that we could aspire to in a country with over 200 million people, which is ZEUS, a capacity of procurement power that's very large. And it's a capacity, we have developed human talent with these universities and these people and these scientists, and with masters and PhDs, and we're working on technologies because we cannot expand technology and innovation if we don't have the human resources, the human talent, and the human talent that we need. Brazil has institutions, several institutions, centuries old, new institutions also that have the possibility of expanding production. The country has has had the political decision to make it. We would have to evolve to have a state policy, as is the state policy that Brazil has, to become the largest exporter of beef and grain in the world and grains. Brazil would have to have the same state policy that doesn't change government after government, but depends on political will. We depend on Brazil as an opportunity for the Americas, especially Latin America and the Caribbean. And in our organization, we have brought this, we have placed a stress and cooperation to have the possibility with the funds that we have. These are funds that have the capacity to use this ability, this procurement power of the countries in the region to engage a chain of a market chain for our region. Also, we have in our resolution a decision which will be taken to the executive board, which is the products that we are purchasing on a priority basis through the funds. These should be products produced locally, regionally, in our region. Otherwise, if we don't have these funds, if we're not doing it through our funds, this is what we would like to create capacity in our countries. The pandemic has left us, and there's no way to forget it. The pandemic has shown us the weaknesses that we have and the frailty and the vulnerability that the market chains for health products has in the whole world. And these are products that don't have any market elasticity. If we don't buy the products, we end up dying. So there's no elasticity. We must not forget what happened at the pandemic, what happened in our region, in a region that only consumes 4% of the health products that brings from abroad. 96% are imported goods. Those were the estimates by SAPAL. We must not keep going like that. Another pandemic will come along, and we will have new protection products for our workers and medicine and medications. Brazil had them, but other countries didn't. So we have the possibility, yes, we do, of getting ready, not just for a pandemic, but for what this region actually needs. That is to produce for today and for tomorrow, for a region that is getting old quickly, a region that has needs for other products that are not produced locally, and the region that has the capacity to absorb what we have at this point in the world. And in the market market for values, the most valuable products for weapons geared to war, but the second most prized values are health technologies and products. So I think that Brazil has, for us in our region, the possibility of being the country that will indeed change the history of Latin America and the Caribbean. We hope to work together again, hand in hand, also well into the future, to support the efforts that are being undertaken by Brazil. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Socorro Gross. And now I'll give the floor to Mr. Mario Moreira. Thank you. I would like to acknowledge our dear colleagues at on the table. We can hardly hear what this person is saying. Unfortunately, the translation is, now it's getting better. We have Marcelo, our colleague, who's advocating the industrial health complex. My director from Bio-Manguinhos, Professor Simonsen, and now I must confess the double happiness of being here today, coming back to the Getúlio Vargas Foundation after 30 years. I was a student here at the Brazilian School of Public Administration, and you're partly responsible for the success of Bio-Manguinhos, the director of Bio-Manguinhos, who preceded Zuma and myself. We've been partners since the 1990s, and also I would like to extend a warm salute, especially in a tribute to Dr. Akira Homma, my mentor, who has had a personal life history which is totally intertwined with the history and the success of Bio-Manguinhos. Dr. Akira was an architect and engineer at this work, and is working every day to this day of the success story. It's a Brazilian success story that we're witnessing. I'd like to make a correction on the institutional video that you were shown. Even though Bio-Manguinhos has obtained its civil certification in 1976, in reality, Bio-Manguinhos has developed vaccine production activities since the middle of last century, when the Federal Serotherapeutic Institute was created. It's been in operation for over 120 years, even though the official name and its legal status was reached only in the 70s last century. I would also like to remind you that I'm bringing you a warm salute from Minister Nisia. She couldn't be here today for obvious reasons, much like Secretary Carlos, as Marcelo said. They're directly involved in the mitigation efforts to counter the effects of the disaster that took place because of climate change that many people still insist on denying. The development model, so-called development in progress, that has destroyed the planet and has brought about damage directly on to the population worldwide. And I'd like to salute the audience, especially my colleagues, friends, and colleagues of Bio-Manguinhos, my original unit at Fiocruz, and also public and private partners that are present here today, exhibitors, students, and the whole audience that is here aggrandizing this event that has to do also with the 48th anniversary of Bio-Manguinhos. We've mentioned the presence of Professor Esper. I'd like to acknowledge him. His institution has been a partner of ours for 123 years, so we're almost twins. And we signed a very important strategic partnership for the whole of Brazil, for the country. I think that we can tell you the history of Bio-Manguinhos in many different ways, but I'm going to choose to tell it from a point of view of the development of Bio-Manguinhos has presented the exuberant development, I would say. I remember the crises that we have faced back in the 1990s, in which for many years and many different ways and many fora, even inside Fiocruz, Bio-Manguinhos was questioned as for its economic and technological viability, feasibility. But the DNA of Bio-Manguinhos is the DNA that points to the overcoming of challenges and obstacles. That's what we're celebrating today. I would say that much of the unified public health system has grown together in tandem with Bio-Manguinhos. I could mention the example, clear and evident case of the development of the national program of immunizations in tandem with the PASMIN program, which led to immunological self-sufficiency that made production companies to develop at the same time that other institutions were developed and turned into the largest vaccination program in the world, be it because of the cohorts achieved and the whole roster of vaccines that are provided free of charge and high quality vaccines to the whole population. It's a world benchmark. It's a world reference to the whole world. I'd say the HIV program, we've had an important participation in the production of antiretroviral products, the production of blood and blood derivatives were developed together with the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, the test that springs all the blood donated in Brazil through molecular means. There are stories of symbiosis that are very positive with the development of the unified public health system. Bio-Manguinhos, in addition to this relationship with the unified public health system, operating of operating on ensuring technological autonomy through the whole system. Our unified public health system is the only system in the world which is public, universal, catering to over 100 million people. In our case, we cater to 200 million people. To be more accurate, 203 million people, of whom 75% of them depend exclusively on the unified public health system. To think of a system so big with in which which operates under the aegis of the Brazilian Constitution that outlines health as a duty of each citizen and as the right of every citizen and the duty of the state. We must ensure the viability of the system by any means, and where I'd like to celebrate the growth of the private industry here. And in the past few years, it's different from what we have seen 20, 30 years ago.
So alongside this role that I call of sanitary safety, of the autonomy of our unified health system, and from the development of the national production, Bio-Manguinhos has a key role in the balance of the trade balance of Brazil. This sector is one of the most important sector in Brazil, with $120 billion exports, income, employment, prosperity, and wealth. This is what Marcelo was mentioning when he described the policy of the complex, industrial complex, is an effort that is required to revert the situation so it can generate employment, technology, development, including of the Brazilian science. This is what we are aligning, the public and the private partnerships and the research entities in this country. This is important to have in mind, this dimension that is also economic and of industrial development. As Marcelo mentioned, and I'm going to take some of what you said, the policy for this, the new industrialization policy, and has 6 axes, and one of them is towards healthcare, not only the production and also the offering of services, and having the SUS as one of the great agent. And no country in the world and the multilateral bodies have the power of purchase that the SUS has. There have countries that buy more in this healthcare field, but not as centralized as the Ministry of Health does. So this capability and this economic potency has to be directed to the development of this industry, and is going to produce more fruits, more results. And I have a report from Manguinhos and Bio-Manguinhos, and we have 40 products in our portfolio. So Bio-Manguinhos is an example that it has produces effects. We are under the expectation of the launching of new instruments and tools for the policy, so that the policy can improve and to be developed in the institutionality of the Brazilian scenario. And we also like to take the opportunity to talk about, we have partners here of the private sector specifically, and we have developed our industrial capacity, and we have today a project that counts on the partnership with Professor Buki, and we have in Santa Cruz a plant with a capex of 6 billion reais, more than 1 billion euros, and more than $1 billion. And if you have any questions regarding its sustainability and its purpose, I do not have anything else aside from the certainty that it is necessary not only for the production of Brazilian serum, but also for the healthcare system worldwide. So we have the expectation that is great regarding the role of Bio-Manguinhos, of this effort of the mitigation of the asymmetry in the healthcare system. So Bio-Manguinhos has a very important role in the exportation of yellow fever and meningitis, and it's pre-qualified for the double viral vaccine. It has also a role that is not only to be mRNA vaccination to meet the requirements in Brazil and the demands in Brazil, and also as an institution that is able to create frameworks for Latin America and also Africa in the future to be autonomous in the production of health products. So this is a great accountability, and Bio-Manguinhos is a global actor that is of central importance because the multinationals will not direct resources for this kind of initiative. So the nature of Bio-Manguinhos can do so, and this kind of institution also can do so. So let's invest in this kind of a structure so that we can consolidate this as a routine action. So I say this as a responsible to equate this kind of problem, and Maurício asked me for this, which is the management model of Bio-Manguinhos, who operates industry that has a revenue of 8 or 9 billion reais. So you can imagine the sacrifice and the effort of the teams involved to do this with very much competence. So I think this is the challenge that we have together with the federal government, and we are counting on the support of the general advocacy of the union and also the Ministry of Innovation of the public service, so that we can outline a service that has having Manguinhos as an example of a proper adequation of the current model. And we here make the commitment to solve these issues as soon as possible. And of course, we have to go to Congress and to executive powers and branches. And we are going to meet solutions that are adequate for the challenges that Bio-Manguinhos faces. And we're going towards the end, and we have here with all our partners that are present here today together with the Bio-Manguinhos team, and we have this challenge that once we can equate the industrial infrastructure, and I think that we are already solving this when we have the consolidation of this new plant and when it comes to start operating. And we have other issues that also have regarding innovation that we also have to solve, but the main investment is in the expansion of our industrial capacity, and this has to be linked to a technological capacity. And I have talked to Maurício about this, and I think that there are partnerships with national, international companies will be essential for that. But with an understanding that technology transfer cannot be alone, it has to be linked to also other actions, because we know that these were connected to the portfolio, the technological portfolio of Manguinhos, but also with the production of new vaccines and the immunobiologicals, because we have this capacity. So this is a calling as well to our partners, our private partners, that we engage in technological development initiatives. It is not of the nature of the relationship that we have and to invest in Brazil in innovation, but I think that we have to overcome this barrier and to move on to this cooperation model. I could also mention that the expectation in Brazil and international regarding Bio-Manguinhos is immense, and it's growing, and without a doubt. And any situation that emerges as a sanitary challenge, and Bio-Manguinhos is part of the solution, and we have been giving the response. And this is very important because now our current challenge internationally, I would say that every time that Bio-Manguinhos is called to face the challenges, we have been meeting the expectations, and this is Dr. Akira is one of the responsibles for this, and this is why this is a very reason of us to be very proud, as well as the unified health system. And with this, I complete my lecture, and greetings for Bio-Manguinhos. Thank you, Mr. Mário Moreira. And now we're going to watch the message of the OPA's director, Jarbas Barbosa, the PAHO director.
Symposium on immunobiologicals, and especially the panel of speakers who composed this opening table. I would like to express my gratitude to Bio-Manguinhos Fiocruz for inviting me to participate in the opening of this symposium, which will address the important topic of promoting biotechnological development for immunization and immunotherapy, accelerating innovative solutions for population health. Immunization saves millions of lives each year, and it is one of the most successful public health interventions to promote health and sustainable development. Today, immunization can prevent more than 20 life-threatening diseases. Since 2010, 116 countries across the globe have introduced new vaccines to prevent pneumonia, cervical cancer, typhoid, cholera, and meningitis, among others. Innovation in the field of immunization is more critical than ever to confront the emerging global public health threats as evidenced by the development of vaccines against COVID-19 and to protect against persistent threats such as malaria, dengue fever, and Ebola virus disease. In the region of the Americas, it is important to highlight some of the great efforts led by countries to expand immunization coverage. For example, countries in the Americas have gone from including 6 vaccines in their national vaccination schedules to an average of more than 16 vaccines, conferring greater protection in health for the population. In recent years, human papillomavirus vaccine has been introduced in 47 countries and territories, pneumococcal vaccine in 37 countries, and the rotavirus vaccines in 22 countries. The introduction of these vaccines was made possible by the collective action of committed stakeholders from the industrial sector that have developed vaccines, national regulatory authorities overseeing quality and safety in product use, and policymakers supporting the delivery of these products within health services. Yet, despite this progress, some challenges persist in terms of vaccination coverage and equitable access to vaccines. For example, almost 2 million children in the region of the Americas have not completed their basic schedules of the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine, while in 90 countries in the region, a coverage of less than 80% was reported on the first dose of vaccines against measles, mumps, and rubella. In addition to vaccines, during the last 15 years, health systems throughout the region have made efforts to increase access to other immunobiologicals, such as monoclonal antibodies. There are currently more than 50 therapeutic MABs on the market for the treatment of different types of cancer, autoimmune, and infectious diseases. However, these medicines are very expensive, and most of them are protected by patents, limiting their access. Additionally, the region is highly dependent on imports of health technologies, as reflected in the persistent trade deficit of pharmaceutical products. In 2020 alone, the value of imports from the pharmaceutical sector was 6 times higher than that of exports. In the case of vaccines, that difference was 80-fold. The high dependency on other regions underscores the importance of developing ecosystems that are conducive to and facilitate regional innovation and production. Encouraging investment in the pharmaceutical capacity in our region not only contributes to reducing dependence on imports, but also generates employment and stimulates economic growth. Fortunately, Latin America is not starting from zero. The region has strong foundations in health technology regulation, innovation, and production capacity. Brazil has been a leader in this regard. For example, in Brazil, public producers such as Butantan and Bio-Manguinhos supply most of the vaccines and other immunobiologics provided by the National Immunization Program. Additionally, in December 2023, the Ministry of Health established the metrics of productive and technological challenges in healthcare, including vaccines as strategic products for technological development to prepare for health emergencies. Brazil, through its presidency of G20, is proposing to expand this vision to the world, and PAHO supports Brazil's proposal to create a G20 alliance for local and regional production and innovation in health. At the same time, there are public and private productive capacities in Argentina, Cuba, Mexico, and Nicaragua, and other countries such as Colombia have expressed strong commitments and are at different stages of development to increase regional production capacities. In our pursuit of increasing local production of health technologies, including immunobiologicals, we must recognize that strengthening regulatory capacity is essential. A mature, agile, transparent, and well-resourced regulatory system that is aligned with international standards is fundamental to guarantee quality, safety, and efficacy throughout the project's life cycle, and also creates an environment that encourages investment in local production and fosters public confidence. In 2022, Member States renewed the PAHO's mandate to provide technical support to strengthen regulatory capacities, and we will continue to provide our Member States with technical support to overcome the regulatory challenges associated with immunobiological products with a view to strengthening regulatory systems and to promote harmonization and convergence. PAHO also contributes to increase innovation and access to immunobiologicals. The revolving fund for access to vaccines provides access to safe, quality vaccines at affordable price to its member states. The revolving fund generates around 50% savings in purchases of vaccines, biologics, and cold chain equipment for our member states. In addition, in 2023, the Department of Innovation, Access to Medicines, and Health Technologies, IMT, was created to strengthen our technical cooperation and expand access to health technologies with an equitable approach that extends to the entire life cycle of healthy products. This approach focuses on strengthening regulatory systems, promoting strategic investments in innovation and manufacturing ecosystems, supporting technology development and transfer, and training human resources. It seeks to support the development of resilient supply chains, increase the access to financing, and consolidating stable and predictable demand, ensuring access to medicines and health technologies aligned with the health needs of the population. Through this department, PAHO also leads efforts in vaccine innovation and manufacturing through the Regional Innovation and Production Platform, with mRNA vaccine development projects in Argentina and Brazil. In Argentina, a public-private partnership was forged integrating the production of vaccines and the strategic components of the value chain, and in Brazil, the project supported the development of an mRNA vaccine that, if successful in clinical trials, would be available throughout the region. Notwithstanding, innovation and the development of vaccines and biosimilars require major investments and complex clinical development processes, which limit the number of manufacturing companies that can develop these products. In this context, it is critical to amplify our efforts to strengthen regional cooperation and the capacities of the region of the Americas through translational research and the exchange of knowledge and experiences. PAHO remains committed to working with our countries and the private sector to improve access to immunobiologicals. Forums such as this symposium allow us to establish connections and strengthen alliances to promote the development of agreements and collaboration frameworks, placing equitable access to vaccines and other immunobiologicals at the center of our actions. Thank you for your attention and commitment to advancing this important issue.
Bem, agradecemos a mensagem de Jarbas Barbosa.
Would like to thank Jarbas Barbosa. We'll now hear from the president of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom.
Dr. Socorro, dear colleagues and friends, bon dia. Immunobiologicals are among the most powerful tools in the history of medicine. From the first smallpox vaccine in 1796, to modern vaccines for COVID-19 and malaria, to monoclonal antibodies and the latest immunotherapies against cancer. And yet, many people cannot access these life-saving products either because they are not affordable or not available. The prevalence of substandard and falsified products is another major challenge. During the COVID-19 pandemic, some countries hoarded medicines, vaccines, and health products, while others went without. These inequities show why we need more local and regional research and development, manufacturing and distribution, and strengthened regulatory capacity. That's why WHO established the mRNA Technology Transfer Program in Cape Town, a multilateral network with partners in 15 countries, including Bio-Manguinhos and Fiocruz. We also established a global training hub in biomanufacturing in the Republic of Korea. I thank Bio-Manguinhos and Fiocruz for your partnership in expanding access to these life-saving tools for those who need them most. Because the right to health means the right to the tools to protect and promote health for everyone. Obrigado. I thank you.
Agradecemos a mensagem de Tedros Adhanom e também gostaríamos de agradecer a presença dos senhores e da senhora na nossa cerimônia de abertura. Muito obrigada. Bem, convidamos a todos para o coquetel de lançamento do livro Tratado Brasileiro de Biotecnologia em Saúde, da bancada ao leito e a apresentação de pitches. E lembro também, peço que vocês lembrem de trazer amanhã, não deixem de trazer as doações para os nossos amigos do Sul. Muito obrigada, boa noite e até amanhã.